Today, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of NASCAR racing the 2022 Clash at the LA Coliseum. Let's get into it. If you haven't heard already, NASCAR is reportedly looking at running the 2022 Clash at the LA Coliseum. And my opinion on this has been evolving. So today I wanted to make a pros and a cons list about NASCAR racing there because there's a lot of things to consider. So we're going to do that and we're going to have fun doing it. If you end up liking this video, make sure to like it. That really helps me out, and leave a comment down below because I like to engage with you guys and have conversation down in the comment section. So let's get into it. The first pro for NASCAR racing at the LA Coliseum is that it is going to put NASCAR in the spotlight. Now, love LA or hate LA, it is the entertainment capital of the world, and you're taking a huge landmark in Los Angeles and you're running a NASCAR race there. It's going to draw a ton of attention, at least with the locals, but it's probably going to make some sort of national headlines as well. Now, the amount of exposure NASCAR gets from this, I think, remains to be seen. I think NASCAR is definitely running this as some sort of marketing stunt. Put NASCAR in the spotlight for a second. See if you can get people to tune in the Daytona 500 in a couple weeks. I think that's the strategy behind this move. So, yeah, that's a good pro, I think. The first con on this list is that it's a really long ways from Charlotte, North Carolina. Teams are basically going to have to drive across the entire country to get to the LA Coliseum. They're on opposite sides of the country, and it's going to put a lot of strain on the Clash teams in particular. Luckily, NASCAR is putting a little bit of a buffer time-wise. This race is looking at being held the week before the Super Bowl, which is also taking place in LA. So hopefully that gives teams enough time to recuperate before heading out to the Daytona 500, but I don't know, it might still be a little bit of a disadvantage for those guys. So, and it would kind of suck to get all your stuff out there and then get wrecked out in like the first couple laps of the race or something. I don't know. It's going to be a lot to look at. The next pro on this list is that it's going to be some good short track racing. This racetrack's probably going to be a quarter-mile short track. For reference, Bristol and Martinsville are both half-mile short tracks, so it's literally half the size of those racetracks. And those are going to be some tight quarters. We're going to see some bumping and banging pretty much no matter what happens. I think it's going to be a pretty exciting race. You don't really see the Cup Series race on racetracks that small. They just don't do it. They can't really support a full field of cars. But a Clash field, I think it could work, and I think it could be very fun to watch. So I think this is going to be a really good pro for racing at the LA Coliseum. The next con on this list is unknown COVID protocols. The reality is we just don't know what COVID's going to look like in 2022. A lot of people still don't agree on how to mitigate the spread of the virus or how serious it actually is even. So this doesn't bring me a lot of optimism. It's right after a few holidays, so there's going to be a lot of people traveling. There's a good chance we might see some numbers start to spike up right around when we're going to be having this Clash, and that's definitely not ideal, and we don't know what California is going to do. California tends to be a little bit more strict with their COVID restrictions. So are we going to be able to run the Clash in front of a full audience? I don't know. That would be kind of unfortunate if we go all the way out there and we can't run it in front of fans. I don't know. That's a pretty big con to me. The next pro on this list is that we're trying something out of the box, something a little bit different, something that we have not tried before. We've tried a bunch of stuff at Daytona, and it's a big facility, and I think when you're just running a small field, it's just hard to put on a good event at Daytona. So this is something out of the box, something completely different. This has the potential to take an event that's just been kind of so-so in the past and maybe make it something that we're all going to love and want to tune into every single year. Who knows? The next con on this list is that there is a lot of risk involved. It's going to be a whole lot more expensive to do this event at the LA Coliseum than it is to do any sort of race at Daytona. Just getting everything that you need out there, renting out the facility, doing everything that you got to do to put this race on. You got to build a racetrack. The LA Coliseum is not a purpose-built racetrack, so there's going to have to be a lot of work done to the facility to get it where it needs to be. How are you going to do pit road, all that stuff. The logistics are going to be a complete nightmare. NASCAR really has to think through all these things, and the good thing is that they can mitigate some of this risk by doing a good job at putting the event on and thinking through everything, but they're not going to be able to totally wipe out this risk. If they screw it up and the payoff's not there and the fans don't enjoy it, man, it's going to be a major flop, and people are going to talk about it for a long time. It's going to come down to, how well the event goes, really. I think that's what it's going to come down to realistically on that front. So that's the pros and the cons. What do I think about this event? I think you run it at least 1 year and see how it goes. Now, the benefit to doing this at the Clash is NASCAR's wanting to do street courses and run races at places that aren't purpose-built racetracks, so this gives NASCAR an opportunity to kind of dip their feet in the water, try it out with a non-points paying event, just something to kind of get their reps in so they can, gauge what they need to do to be able to do that better in the future. I think that's probably a good, part of the reason why they're doing this event in the first place, but I don't know. I think that's probably not a bad thing. And then on top of that, it's going to be a quarter-mile short track. It's going to be a fun race to watch. This is the top level of motorsports in the United States. I don't think we should be letting logistics be a hang-up for us. We can figure that one out, and I think they're giving teams enough buffer between this event and the Daytona 500 where it's not going to hurt the teams that travel too much. It might be a little bit of an inconvenience, but I think it's going to be okay. Who knows if they're going to run the Gen 6 car or the next gen car? It probably is going to depend a little bit on supply chain stuff with the next gen car. If they run the Gen 6 car, I think it'd be kind of fun to whack the spoiler and the splitter off of it and run it that way. You probably get away with that more at a quarter-mile short track as opposed to, a larger racetrack in pretty much any other racetrack, really. You could probably get away with that at such a small racetrack. But this event could definitely go either way. There's a lot of risk involved, but it could also be really good too. I'm interested to see how it plays out. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. If there's any pros or cons that I really didn't think about, let me know down in the comments below. I like hearing from you guys there. And make sure to like this video. It helps it get out to more people. You have no idea how much that helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. You can also find me on Twitter or Instagram. I have links for those down in the description below. But until next time, my name's Tyler. This is Tight End Loose Off, and I'll see you later.